You are now listening to the Going North podcast, where you'll receive tips and techniques to advance yourself. I'm your host, Dom Brightmon, and every week we're going to be hearing from an author who's going to share their expertise to help you charge forward in life. On a quick side note, be sure to check out Going North the book. It's available in ebook, audio, as well as paperback form for those who love to read a traditional book. Now let's get on with the show. All my folks out in Baltimore, especially in the Cockeysville area, clear your calendars on Saturday, July the 7th at 1 p.m. I'm going to be having a joint book event with my good friend, fellow author, and podcast host, Mark Greatness Hunter, called Going North to Greatness. At this event, which is free, I might add, you are going to be hearing some powerful messages, some inspiring messages, some uplifting messages that will help you to focus on going forward to better, to breaking through, and to go north to your greatness. You'll learn how to overcome self-doubt, network with others, and hear some important messages that will help you stay inspired to charge and chase after your dream, and also to remember to encourage others. So go over and to Eventbrite, type in Going North to Greatness. It'll be hashtag GNTG 2018, and I look forward to seeing you there. And today on the Going North podcast, we have an astronaut. Nope, wrong again. We have another author, and not just any author. We have the wonderful Malaika Simmons, author of Momentology, Stop Waiting, Start Winning, and it is the companion ebook, as well as a couple other books, especially the one called Through the Looking Glass. See yourself in the moment with her co-author, her wonderful daughter, which I believe is 9, right?
She's 8.5. Don't let me forget that half.
Like iced tea and lemonade, half and half.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this wonderful author right here, she has almost over 20 years of experience in corporate policy, training, and program and project management roles with degrees in research in psychology. So this wonderful lady's got all sorts of experience. In addition to all of that, she's also a speaker, a executive coach, and a personal coach as well. And she is the creator of the Momentology method. Trademark. And you're wondering who the heck I'm talking about. I'm talking about the wonderful Malaika Simmons. How are you today?
I am wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I had to, jump through freaking hurdles and crawl through the mud to get this to happen.
I know it's been, we were playing the epic game of tag, but that's okay. It's okay. We got it done.
That's right. And now the mud monster is here for some Momentology goodness.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And I am the creator of Momentology Method and the founder and CEO of Momentology Media. And so Momentology might ask, what exactly is Momentology? Well, it's a lot like what it sounds like. It is the study of the moment. It is the study and practice of operating in the now, in this moment, moment by moment, and being successful from where you are. We can't change the past. The future hasn't come yet. So all we really ever have is right now, this moment. And a lot of times we struggle with what to do at that moment because we're so busy either looking backwards or worrying about what's going to happen in the future. It's taken me a few years to kind of get all of that together in my brain. I'm a big history buff. When I was little, I carried around a huge Greek mythology book and an Egyptian mythology. Like, I love mythology. I love history. I love what the ancients were talking about. I come from a family that's just been blessed with longevity, so I've always been the one sitting around all of the older people in my family listening to stories of the past and so forth. So I've always been a student. Through studying history and neuroscience, how the brain works, psychology, and just really good old-fashioned people watching, I developed a method of intentional living that helps you succeed right now. Not when you get that next degree or certificate, or when you get a raise, you're going to do this, or just wait till my kids get off to college, or I retire, or my husband retires, or win the lottery, whatever. No, now. So Momentology is truly mindfulness for the rest of us.
That is amazing indeed. I like the fact that you mentioned that you're a history buff. Did you ever cosplay as Cleopatra for Halloween as a child?
I did not, but my daughter was Cleopatra 2 Halloweens ago. So that's a funny thing. It's funny you bring that up. I'm very pleased with the way that she kind of is self-aware, and so she loves heroines. Like, she loves the strong, whoever role it is, like the Marvel comic, the Wonder Woman, even in the Disney comics, all her favorite Disney is not like, the damsel in distress princess. She likes the little princess in Brave because she has a bow and arrow. I love that she likes women that have a sense of self and a stance. So, yeah, she was Cleopatra last year.
Awesome indeed. So somebody had to pull it off.
We were working on it, too. We were working on it. She's very particular. Oh, and you mentioned, too, so the book, we're working on a chapter series, and the book is called Shiloh B. That's the name of the series. So it's kind of like the Dork Diaries or the Diary of a Wimpy Kid type of thing, but from a girl's perspective. So the books are based on Shiloh. She has her own business. She started a headband business. She started a YouTube show when she was like 4. So my job is really just to keep up with her, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
4?
Yes. So I had an iPad, and I went to pick it up, and I was going to do something on it, and it was telling me that I needed more cloud, like more memory. And I'm like, I barely have used this. How could I need more memory? And I open it up, and I look into the videos and the pictures, and there's tons of selfies in there, and there's all these videos. And she's like, hi, I'm Shiloh, and I'm 4 years old, and this is the Shiloh Show.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what? I'm like, what is happening? So I kind of went through all of them, and the ones that were either short or she was sitting still because she was like moving all over the place and everything, we posted them on YouTube, and she started her own YouTube channel. So this was a while ago, but she wants to start doing that again, like doing the Shiloh Show. She wants to go on Ellen. She also started coding when she was 5, so she writes block JavaScript. She's been coding for years, and she's 8. So she wants to go to MIT. So listen, I need Momentology in my life just to keep up with this little girl. So all things happen for a reason.
Wow. Okay. Coding since 5. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, the older adults are in trouble. Gotta love the Momentology.
Listen,
amazing.
I don't know yet. Again, and it goes back to being focused on now. Like, nobody had to teach her that. She came into the world this way. She has such a great sense of urgency, and she's a visionary. She's 8 years old, and she's a visionary. So before we moved, we would go out and look at houses and so forth, and we had this one house that was really like a dream house. We had no intention of trying to get it. We just loved the house. We would go and look at it, and she said, so when are we moving in? And I'm like,
wow.
No, sweetie, we're just looking. We're not moving in. She's like, well, don't we want this house? And I'm like, well, yeah, we'd love to have this house. And she said, well, you have to write it down. And so she went and drew a picture. She started from the bottom of the page. This has a picture of our old house, and she's drawing a little road that goes to the bank because she understood that you need money to buy a house. She drew a little picture, and she had a picture of, like, contracts because Mommy needs to get contracts. And Daddy has to get his patent. My husband's an inventor. Daddy has to get his patent, and Mommy needs contracts. Then we're going to get money. And then she drew another little picture down the road to the big house where we're going to move in. And so this little girl put together a vision board and understood that things are created twice, right? Once in the mind, actually 3 times. Once in the mind, then you put it on paper, highly important. And then if you focus on it long enough, and do the right things and live in a certain way, things do appear in our physical presence. So it was just amazing to listen to her pretty much say it like it was everybody should know that this is how we do things. So she is definitely my inspiration and one of the reasons why I know that Momentology has some credence and it's part of who we are as human beings. Like there's not certain things to do. A lot of us, oftentimes, we look at other people who are doing well and we say, oh, I wish I could do that, or they had all of these different advances over me, so I can't do that. And it's not true. These are things that we tell ourselves. She was able to understand that we all have greatness inside of us and we all can do whatever it is that we want to do. And it's not a certain thing like go to this school, get this particular job, make this exact amount of money, but it's a way of living, to be intentional about what you want, to be action-focused, to persevere, to have discipline, to visualize what you want. You know, without vision, people should perish. She understands that at such a young age that it's just innate. So that just helps me because I'm like, yes, I know I'm on the right track and it's working.
Yeah, now it all makes sense. Daddy's an inventor. So now we know where the other half of the prodigy comes from. Now it all makes sense. Yeah, we need to get your daughter on the show next.
Right. Yeah, she's always talking about going on the Ellen show. She wants to go on Steve Harvey's Little Big Shots. She asked me when we were going on Shark Tank for Daddy's Invention. Like, she's got it. I'm telling you, it's a full-time job. It is twice a full-time job. Motherhood is always a full-time job, right? But she definitely keeps us busy.
Yeah, definitely keep nurturing that project right there. That is amazing. That is amazing indeed.
Yes, Lord, thank you.
So with the joys of motherhood and authorship and motivating the masses, what trials did you have to overcome to be the Malaika that you are today?
That's a really good question. I don't think I am who I am intended to be, right? But I'm okay with that. So one of the pieces of Momentology is gratitude. So let me back up a little bit and just say that the overarching pieces or tenets to Momentology are awareness, gratitude, and expectancy. And it's sort of like I have a article out there somewhere that I call Act Your Age, AGE, where I talk about being aware. So sometimes we just go through life and we're just doing the things that we have to do to survive, but we're not very self-aware. We don't know what our place is in the world. A lot of times that's the case. And then one day something happens and it just makes you think there's got to be more than this. There's more to do, there's more to be, there's more to have. So that's kind of an awakening that occurs in each of us. And then the belief system takes over. What were you taught as a child? What kind of environment were you in? What things do you believe about yourself and about the world, right? And your beliefs highly influence your actions and the things that you do from that point. So now you're awake, or you're beginning to be awake. You know that there's something more out there, but what you believe will dictate your next steps and how you move forward. And then there's faith. Like, you have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith that things will work out a certain way. You have to have faith that things are the way they are for a reason. And faith is very important, whether it's the faith from a spiritual or religious aspect, or faith from an intrinsic, internal, I can do this, I will do this sort of thing. That's kind of the next step. And then you have gratitude, right? So gratitude is very simple. You woke up this morning. Boom. Like, I could really stop there. You woke up this morning. You have a new day, another 24 hours to do more of what you want to do. And it's not necessarily that you're going to be an overnight success, because seldomly are people automatically successful with the things that they want to do. But you have another chance at it. And so you'll never have more until you are satisfied with what you have. And when I say satisfied, it doesn't mean you should just settle. And we kind of confuse that, right? Where we say, well, how can you be forward moving if you're complacent, you're satisfied? No, satisfaction means you have a contentness about your spirit. You are okay with what you have, and you understand the greatness of what you currently have. So if you live in a row home in the inner city and you want to live in a 40,000 square foot mansion, you can get there, but you have to realize that row home it's somebody else's 40,000 square foot mansion. Because somebody that lives on the street, somebody that lives in some rural area with, no roof and living in the car, it could always be worse. So whatever you have, you definitely already have more than someone else. And so starting with that realization and understanding that, yes, you want more, but thank you. Thank you for what I already have. That's kind of the key point there. So once you have gratitude, and then you have expectancy, and expectancy is you get exactly what you expect. And so a lot of times we complain that we didn't get what we wanted. I'm here to tell you, you absolutely got what you wanted. It might be subconsciously, but you got what you wanted because you were thinking, I'm never going to get this job. So you went to the interview, you prepared for the interview, but in the back of your head, you're thinking, I'm not going to get this job. Somebody else has more qualifications. I don't have this particular degree. Whatever self-limiting belief you told yourself, and you talked yourself right out of that job because it manifested in your conversation, that interviewer. So we have to be aware of our actions. We have to be aware of the things that we do. And then we have to have forward motion. You can't just sit there and wish yourself into wealth. Like you can't sit in a corner somewhere saying, I wish I had, and how come everybody else has? You actually have to put steps in motion. I feel like I'm not yet the person I'm supposed to be because I'm still working on it. And I'm going to keep working on it until I don't have any breath left to work on it. And that's the way I think it should be. I think we're all here for growth. We're all here for interaction and engagement with others. And our lives touch different people in different ways. Yeah, I'm not there yet. And I don't expect to get there. I don't think there is a certain space. But I do believe that I'm happy and I'm grateful for everything that I have. And I'm just out there trying to see what else can I do to enrich my life? What else can I do to enrich the lives of people who matter to me?
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Also liked in your chapter in the wonderful, wonderful Success Blueprint where you're on the cover with the legendary Brian Tracy. It is awesome. I like the fact that you mentioned that you should say hello to the world one conference room at a time after signing up for Toastmasters. So any tips for those who are looking to become more confident when they're networking with other folks?
Oh, sure. So I have a series that I call Momentology Speaks, where I train folks to come in. People reach out to me all the time and say that either I just need some tips on speaking because I have this conference that's coming up that I really want to make the best of it, or there's a new meeting at work that I'm now going to be leading and I don't feel comfortable. Or frankly, I've gotten folks who I feel like I'm going to just break down in tears. I don't want to go anywhere near a podium, but I need help. Like I'm terrified of speaking. So it runs the gamut, and I've seen and talked to folks from various backgrounds. English is not my first language. I don't feel comfortable speaking in front of large audiences. So I have talked to lots of people about getting over their fears of speaking, and not just for work and not just for, to become a speaker, which is great. If you want to become a paid speaker, that's a whole other thing you could do. But just speaking in general. Brian Tracy actually has said that speaking is one of the best skills you could ever have in life and in business, right? Because think about how often we actually use that particular skill or need to use that particular skill. When you go to buy a car and, you're haggling with the salesperson, you need to be able to speak well. You need to be able to articulate what you want. When we're having conversations with family members, when we're trying to decide with our spouse which restaurant to go to, like speaking and being able to communicate and being able to articulate yourself and being able to understand people is such a core requirement of the human dynamic that it should not be overlooked. So one of the things that I tell people is that you can take baby steps. Start from making yourself known where you work. For example, one of the first jobs I had in the federal government, it's a very long onboarding process, like to get through the background investigation and to get fingerprinted and to do a bunch of stuff. And so sometimes they'll hire you on and you'll get in physically in the building, but you don't have a lot of the clearances or, you don't have access to a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of twiddling your fingers waiting for somebody to give you something to do without having access to computers and so forth. So I just literally walked around and introduced myself to all the directors, all of the assistants, and just about anybody Hi, my name is Malaika Simmons. How are you? I'm the new such and such. How can I help you in what you do? And it was conversational, but it was speaking. And it was being able to put yourself in a position where you might think you might feel vulnerable, because some of them probably like, who is this woman and why is she at my desk? But that's okay, because later on, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because later on when I got on conference calls, people knew who I was. And so there was that recognition factor. And people do business with people that they like and people that they trust, and that takes time. And so whether the business that you're doing is the transactional sort in the everyday confines of your job, or if it's business as an entrepreneur and you want to deal with people, make yourself known. Talk to people, and don't talk to people to like run them over the head with sales. Like don't try to talk to people about your product or your service all the time. Just talk to people. Find out who they are, what they like.
Oh man, can't sell them.
Well, here's the
Come
thing.
on, I want to beat them over the head with my product. I want to so bad.
Yeah, you want to. Like, come on. But I'm so glad you said that, because I had just had a conversation with someone not too long ago when we were talking about how people, just like they say dogs smell fear, like people smell desperation. And so just because you haven't met your sales quota, or just because you didn't meet your quarterly goals or whatever it is, that's not that person's problem. So when you go to people with this you got to buy from me mentality, even if you don't actually say the words, can you buy this? That's the kind of vibe that you give them, and it's a turnoff. And so we're all in it for ourselves at the end of the day. That's kind of the natural, we're on survival mode. I got to get this sale. I got to get more sales, or whatever it is. And as soon as you start concentrating on that and forget that you're talking to another human being, you're talking to a person, you've already lost. We have to start having conversations with people, and the best way to get better at something is to do it. And so if you want to start speaking, speak. Talk to people, volunteer, like Girl Scouts, lead a Girl Scout troop. That's talking. That's, putting together a group. That's project management. You can build skills in some of the most inconspicuous places.
Very true indeed. And I love what you said about your recognition factor. I feel like that's a good blog title in the future for you.
About recognition?
Yeah, 10 ways to boost your recognition factor.
Yeah, I actually have a talk called Franchise Your Life. Yeah, this is exactly that. When we think of franchise, we think of one of two things. We either think of the McDonald's or the Burger Kings or the Nikes, or we think of LeBron James and Steph Curry, and those that's name recognition, right? You can have that on a personal level. You can have that on a business level. And so one of the talks that I do for companies a lot of times, especially for their emerging leaders, is how do we franchise our lives? How do we become our own walking, talking brand without being salesy, without knocking folks over the head with whatever it is that we want them to buy? And to buy means to buy an actual products or services, or to buy meaning up the career ladder. Like, I want someone to acknowledge me, and I want to get a promotion, and I want this next raise. There's ways to do that where you are simply being your own walking, talking billboard, but it's not knocking people over the head. It's just putting your brand on things. So people should be able to say, oh, you know what? That looks like Dom wrote that, right? That is a clear indication that you have your own brand.
Yeah. You sure can beat people over the head with a product?
I'm pretty sure that you don't want to do that.
Aww.
Although, and sometimes we don't realize we're doing it, but I think that's probably part of the problem, right? We think we're trying to get in every possible feature and benefit and tell them everything so they have all as much information, and they're drowning in information. And I just said hi. I didn't ask for all of that. I just said hello. We had someone on a call not too long ago said, stop vomiting on people, everything that you do and everything you are and who have been without being asked. It's a turnoff. Like, I completely agree. We have to stop doing that.
Yeah, you're right, because it's like someone just got saved from drowning, then 5 seconds later they start getting waterboarded with your content. It's like, no.
No, I don't want it. I have no reason. Here's the thing, and I have no reason to care about it. So, for the listeners out there, those who write, if you understand story arcs and the fact that you have to build a character up in the mind of your reader, nobody cares about you before they know who you are. It's very difficult. One of the cult classic movies, right, Poetic Justice. Everybody loved this movie, and it was Tupac, and it was Janet, and the movie was okay. I'm a writer, so I've been writing since I could read. One of the things that bothered me, and I didn't even realize it bothered me, was there's a scene in the movie where Regina King and Janet are having this conversation, and Janet's character just bursts out in tears and makes some comment about her mother. And it was so out of place. Like, there was no build up to this character reveal. Like, no one knew that that this was coming. They didn't have any reason to care about her situation or her mother, and nobody else seemed to pick up on that, and it irritated me. I was like, who cares? Like, it can't be dramatic if you haven't built up the drama, if there's no crescendo there, if there's no caring about your character, so that when your character breaks down, I feel and I empathize with that character. The same thing can be said in communication through business and in our daily lives. You can't just walk up to somebody and then start telling them all the reasons, like, my company's about to go under if you don't buy this last thing from me. Like, who cares? Nobody cares. People need to care about you. In order for them to care about you, they have to know you. In order for them to know you, you have to talk to them. So, again, it all begins with talking to them and with them and not just at them.
Amen, indeed. You got to build up your character, metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically speaking. Exactly.
Metaphors and momentology. So many M&ms.
I take it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the two chocolate people on the conference call. So, with all of your knowledge, I'm pretty sure there's been plenty of books that have been inside your brain for many years to come. If you were to choose top three books that you've read in your lifetime that you recommend others to read, in addition to your books, what would they be? There's
a book called 3 Feet from Gold. And 3 Feet from Gold was written by Sharon Lecter and Greg S. Reed. And I just loved this book. It was written in conjunction with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And so those of you out there who are in personal development, you know, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. So Think and Grow Rich is the other book. Think and Grow Rich is a seminal piece that was written in the 1920s by Napoleon Hill, where he took all the best minds of the time. I'm talking like the Edisons and the Henry Fords and Charles Schwab and the biggest names in industry at the time, and wrote down all of their keys and secrets to success. And then 3 Feet from Gold is a more recent book where they talk about different people. So it's kind of like, it's not an anthology, it's just one story, but it talks about the founder of Chick-fil-A, and it talks about Mrs. Fields and their journeys into success. And one of the best stories in the book, which is also where the title comes from, 3 Feet from Gold, talks about a prospector out in California doing the gold rush, and this guy is digging, he's looking for gold, and he can't find it, and he's spending all his money. He's spending his family's money. He's just exhausting all of his resources to try to find this gold, and he's digging all over the place, and just digging. And so he can't find it. He's going broke, and so this old prospector comes along one day and offers to buy the land from him, and he sells him the land, the tools, the drill, everything for like $100, which back then I'm sure was a significant piece of money, and just like wipes his hand of the whole business. First thing the prospector does is to go find a surveyor, go find someone who knows about gold. And so this person comes along and tells him that gold actually runs in veins in the earth. So that means if you drill straight down, the gold could be running parallel to the drill bit. And so he had the surveyor survey the land, and the man was drilling, and he literally moved 3 feet over and hit the gold vein. And this particular person became rich. His whole family was rich. And the man who sold it went into insurance sales or something, and he didn't live an impoverished life, but he certainly didn't live the life he would have led had he, hit the gold. And so the moral of that story is what you want, what you need could just be 3 feet from where you are. But there's a way to do things. So he had the what? He had the drill. He had the land. He did not understand where he was. He didn't understand his environment. So he reached out, the next guy reached out for help and was able to get where he needed to be. So that story has just always stuck with me. I think it's a beautiful story about perseverance, persistence, but also just using what you have, you know, to move yourself forward. I love that story. So Think and Grow Rich is the number one. 3 Feet from Gold is the other one. And then Rhonda Byrne has a book called The Secret, which is all about gratitude. And gratitude is my absolute favorite thing in the world. And it's like, I think it's like a 28-day plan on how to be grateful. And it just talks about being grateful for sight and seeing and having family, just everything you can possibly think of. Like, I have a gratitude journal that I write in every day. Every day when I get up, before I put my feet on the floor, I just am thankful and list out the litany of things, from me breathing to my feet working, having a roof over my head, car in the garage, what have you. So I just think that gratitude is fundamental to who we should be. And so Secret is one of my favorite books. And there's lots and lots and lots more, because I read voraciously, but those are kind of the top 3 to get you thinking.
Oh, yeah, the hat trick indeed, especially that 3 Feet from Gold story. That book is shiny, too. It's really very good, and it also just goes back to the fact that you mentioned earlier about you're so close to that success. You just have to step 3 feet over. Folks give up right before the success is about to happen, and it just goes to show you got to be consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the funny thing about The Secret is that book isn't a secret anymore.
That is true.
Yeah.
She has several of them, actually. She has, like, The Secret. There's one like The Power. Oh, I'm sorry. So it's saying, so I've read all of them, so it kind of intermingles, but it's The Magic. Just to clarify, The Magic is the one that talks about gratitude. The Secret is the one that has several folks like Bob Proctor, who actually was one of my early mentors, one of the first personal development speakers I started following. But The Secret talks about the law of attraction, and that's a whole other podcast, right? But the Magic is the one that talks about gratitude.
Yeah, The Magic, that book has been on my reading list for a while. Another guy I mentioned it, Mike Sheila, a LinkedIn consultant on his own company, Mike Sheila Consulting. That is one of his all-time favorite books. It's a really great one indeed, so I need to add that one.
Yes, definitely add The Magic up. It's wonderful.
So if you were to go back in time, like 3 years into the future, and you were 25 in 2018, what advice would you give to yourself?
25-year-old me. I would definitely tell myself, one, to not be afraid. A lot of times we operate from fear, and sometimes we don't realize that we're operating from fear because we cover it up with excuses. You know, like procrastination is a form of fear. We don't think about it. We're afraid of what will happen when we finish the thing that we're working on, or we're afraid of what if the thing that we're working on is not good enough, or we're afraid of whatever is tied to that particular project or thing that we're trying to get done. A lot of times it's based on fear. So I would definitely tell anyone that's young and just getting started. Now, mind you, there are 25-year-olds right now that are out there killing it, 3, 4, 5 books, businesses, and so forth. I wish I had that when I was that age. My daughter, she's going to be one of those. Like by 12 or 15, I can't even imagine where she's going to be in a few years. But I would tell myself to everything that you want is on the other side of fear. Like you've heard that so many times in motivational videos and so forth, and it's so true. Even writing the first book with Brian Tracy, I've been saying that I wanted to publish for years and years and years and years, and I just hadn't done it for various reasons. I told myself all sorts of things on why I couldn't do it. And then once I had it completed and it was in the rearview mirror, I realized how awesome it was, how I should have always been doing this. Like, it's so easy. It effortlessly comes out of me. So, you know, I'm already documenting a lot of this stuff. I should have just done it a long time ago. But I'm sure it was, there's so many different things that I was afraid of. And everything you want is on that other side of fear. Like that book was transformational for me, just as a matter of personal accomplishment, as well as exposure and all the other things that comes with it. But absolutely getting through fear, no matter what it takes. Just fight facing forward. The time is going to pass anyway, from here to there, so you might as well just get it done. Do what you need to do. I have a saying, just dream, document, do, and repeat. Whatever it is that you want to do, it has to come to you in your brain. You're going to think about it. You need to write it down. Write it down. There's power in writing things down, and you just do it, quote unquote, But get it done, and then start all over again. And that's how we continue to get things done. That's how we accomplish our goals.
Amen indeed. Amen indeed. Great stuff, especially seeing procrastination as a form of fear. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. That's an interesting thought right there. It's actually true, because it's like you got that project that you need to knock out, and it's just lying in front of you. Heck, even probably years, and sometimes, if you get to that point, decades at a time, and then you finally do it, and it's like, wow, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Mhm. And we all do it, and we just, like I said, we don't think of it as fear. Not every single thing is like fear. Like you not washing a car is probably not fear-based. It's just you just don't feel like going out there and washing the car, right? But think about anything that holds any level of importance for you that you're not doing. You have to think about. You have to start peeling back those layers and understanding why you're not moving forward, and stop and also stop blaming everybody else, because guess what? It's you. 9 times out of 10, it's you. There are lots of things we can't control in the world, but there are things that we can control, and we often don't do the very things that we can control that we know are going to get us to the next step, just based on fear.
Yeah, I like to blame that Dominic guy all the time. That Brightmon guy, he does a lot of evil things to me. Yep, good stuff. Wait, that's not good stuff. That's bad stuff. Yeah, I blame him. Well, all right, for those who want to keep in contact with you and all that you're doing, and snag 38 copies of your books and get on you about helping Shiloh to rocket ship to the moon after Elon Musk is done, where can we get in contact with you?
So I am at Malaika Simmons. That's MalaikaSimmons on Instagram and on Twitter. And you can join my group at www.momentouslife.org. And my website is www.malaikasimmons.org. And so one final thing, I believe that implementing the Momentology method leads to you having a momentous life. And I think that's what we're all here for. We're all here for impact, right? So most people brace for impact. I strive for it. That is my whole goal in life, is to be impactful. So I help people to live a momentous life in their own right for whatever goal they have, because we all don't want the same things out of life. So whatever it is that you need to do, the Momentology method can help you do that, living a momentous life and being impactful to someone out there. So that's pretty much it.
That's right. Strive for impact. Jump out that plane without the parachute. You'll make it, metaphorically speaking. Don't actually do it.
Yeah.
If you're on a plane listening to this, do not open that door. Do not open that door. There you have it, folks. Keep up with Malaika and all that she's doing, and help get that momentous life, create so much momentum that they will have to rename the Big Mo into the Big U.
Like it. Absolutely.
Hey there, buddy. Looks like you made it to the end of this episode. Since you made it to the end of this episode, do both of us a favor and stop being greedy. Stop it right now and share this episode with your friends and your fellow podcast lovers, especially those who have book clubs and want to listen to the authors who write some amazing books. Be sure to check out the rest of the backlog too while you're at it, and share all those too. And in order to make the rest of your week the best of your week, remember